Hi all, it's Denise, and I'm away from the studio, but while I'm gone, I'm sharing some remixes of projects that I've done. This was a Zoom class that I taught, and it was on a jelly plate deep dive, and this portion of it was creating a piece of art with your jelly plate. So I hope you can find this useful, and I hope you're still hanging with me, even though I'm not in the studio. I look forward to seeing you when I get back. So enjoy. Until then, bye-bye. I want to keep. So these are really good to have, not only for your artwork, but even if you were to make a couple of mats, it really helps you focus in on what you want to end up creating. So I don't know how well you'll see these on the camera, but this is all jelly plate that then I went in with a stencil. The leaf pattern is a stencil, and then went around that with a pen and defined those. But everything else is jelly plate. This one, same thing. This is all jelly plate that I went in and added some papers and some circles, and that was it. And then threw a little mat on it, and they just look so great to me.
They do. They're darling.
This one is jelly plate papers. There's jelly plate in the background that I've just gone in and added other elements. You know, I love those potato sack webbing and some stamps and some marks, and just, you know, created right on top of it. So you don't have to stick just with the jelly plate.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
This is all jelly plate except for my favorite napkin, my polka dot napkin, and the little white circles that I drew on there. So there's so much that you can do with them. So those were all on paper. And these little guys were just a couple that I just added some jelly papers on a canvas and painted around them and created a little, you know, a couple little compositions. And it's basically all jelly paper with some oil pastel and a little bit of gold leaf. I'm going to be using, first of all, I always have a stack of papers that are just papers that I use when I've laid something down. If you can, once you're printing something, if you have another piece of paper to lay on and smooth that out, it just seems to go a lot nicer. Then if you have paint that's like over on the edges, let's say your paper doesn't completely cover all the edges, if you have another piece of paper to lay down, you're not so likely to be ginger over here and hit the edges gingerly. You just kind of do the whole thing. So I always make sure I have a stack of papers over to the side that I can use for that. And some of them end up, of course, being something you'll use. I'm using watercolor paper that I cut to the size of my, I've cut this watercolor paper to go under my jelly plate. So and all my pieces of paper are that same size in my watercolor paper. So if I want something to register the same, if I'm doing a couple prints, all I have to do is line this up with that piece of paper and then lay it down. So it's that piece of paper under there is just a marker. I've taped it down so that piece of paper doesn't slide all over my tabletop while I'm trying to jelly. So I have to kind of tape that one down. So I'm using watercolor paper. I'm using, I love the rice paper. I do love printing on this stuff. So if you have rice paper, it's really great for this. If not, it's no biggie, but I just got this sketch pad online on Amazon, and this is also, the rice paper is also the paper that, if you print on one side and you take the flip side and just wash it with color, when you go to tear that paper, it doesn't leave a white interior of the paper. It leaves the color that you painted on the back because it soaks all the way through. So you have these really beautiful colored tear marks. Does that make sense? I wish I had a piece of it laying right here. I'd show you what it is. So I've got rice paper, just computer print paper, and watercolor paper, which Watercolor Society people, that will come in handy. find some little shapes that you like and have some cutouts. So what I did, for some reason I really like the fish, and I just went on Pinterest and typed in fish silhouette, or I also did a bird silhouette, because I just wanted the shape. I don't care about anything else. I don't need details. So I just cut it out, copied out a bunch of little silhouettes. I love this guy. And let me see if then I transferred them. I just traced them. I put a piece of transfer paper down, traced it onto watercolor paper, and then cut them out. So let me see, I think I have this little guy. So these are this is the kind of thing you're gonna want. And whatever the thing is, that's the hardest thing to come up with, is like, what am I gonna do? That's not gonna look like too cute. He didn't look that cute, so I figured I was safe with that. So so I just copied these out and I sized them to the size that I wanted for my jelly plate. And here's one example that I was playing with. I did a cat, a crazy little cat, and I have little birds that I cut out. And I'm going to show you the process, but then I end up with this really great little cat as well, which is going to go into something. He's just so fun. So, and you're going to see how that works. Here's a little red cat. And I'm still playing with these guys. This is a ghost print. You can see the cat. So I can still have more room to play on this one. There's the little kitty. And the one I'm really liking that I did a lot of pieces is the fish. I even ended up with a really cool, this was just right, I cut it right out of the copy paper that I printed out. But this is after going over it in my jelly print, and I now have a really cool fish to add into something. So this is kind of what I was going for. These fish are actually the cutouts that I was jellying with, and I glued them onto a background I really liked, and I just used matte medium to put them on. But look at all the pulls I did. I still have these to play with. This is watercolor paper. Here's another one, computer paper. Here's one. I can't believe I did it on the back of that. So I'm not sure I'm going to do anything. I think I am going to put a book together with these. And if I do that, I am going to do that this week, and I'll do a little video of it. Because from our first class, I have a lot of two-sided pages, and I can't decide which page I want to use. So I'm going to make a little book with them. So I just went crazy with the fish thing. Now, none of these are done. I can still have room to go back and play with these. But you can see how many pulls you can get just from, I was having so much fun. And I don't even really care about fish. Let's start, let's play with some of the, I'm going to start with the fish idea. And maybe not actually the fish. Let's think about, maybe I want to do this bird. I could do two birds, but I don't want it to be two. Where's that one guy? I really did like him. I'm going to start with the big guy because he's a simple shape. Okay, so I have to decide what color I want him. And today I'm pretty much going, I have mostly golden fluid paints that I'm using. Instead of, I had so many tubes of paint here yesterday, I thought, okay, just simplify. So I'm going to start, let me see. This is that indigo. I think this is fluid, so let me not. Maybe I'll put a little bit of a little alizarin in with this. And now this is going to be the color of my bird. And I'm just mixing my paint right up there. Actually, I think I'm going to add just a touch of black. And this is all kind of like you're just figuring it out as you go. Okay, I'm going to use computer paper for this. And I'm using this piece of paper, which is pretty much the same size as the computer paper on my end over here. So I'm going to lay that down. So I don't know if I want my bird to be blue. So maybe I might do a little black in here. And I don't really want black over the whole thing. And maybe I want to just add a little texture to that. So now I'm going to try this again. Okay, that's going to be better. So now I want to take my little bird, and I'm just. He's actually on this the mixed media paper that I'm using to roll my paints off on.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
It's a nice paper because it's not as heavy as a cardstock. It's got some body to it, and it's smooth.
I've got one of those pads too. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just deciding if I want to do something like add that could be kind of fun. Okay, so now we've got this. What do I want to go over this with? I don't think I have enough of that. So I also add a little bit of that. I have to stop and think about what am I doing. Do I want that there? Do I want him there? Because you kind of have to figure out which way is which as you're going along. And I'm not sure I didn't want my bird down yet, but let's see if this is going to work this way. It probably will. I'm going to guess. Now this is where I might use a piece of paper to really, so I can and I don't worry about my paper on the Gelli print sliding. Now let's hope this worked.
Nice.
So there's one pull on it. I've got some other backgrounds going here. Let's see if this is going to work. So this one I actually even like better because look at how cool that is. It's not quite so much of a silhouette, which is nice, but this is really fun because it's got so much stuff going on in the background. Yeah, and I can still, I'm looking at this going, I think I can still go over this, but I don't want to erase him, but I don't necessarily need him to be that strong. But also, this is a good point where I could leave this like this, and I could go over, let's think about, I could now, let's see, believe it or not, I have been loving this color, but I've been loving it mixed in with other stuff, not all by itself.
Yeah, I use it a lot too. I really like it.
Yeah, it's surprisingly a great,
Yeah.
hello, come out. Let me,
That is it.
it is, it's fluorescent pink. It's a golden fluorescent pink.
What you were trying to get at looks like an Indian yellow.
Oh, that one, I love that color. I think it is Indian yellow. Okay, this could be a gross color, but what the heck? Let me see if I can roll it on. I can, but I'm not sure I'm liking it. But if I don't like it, it's not a big deal. I can go over it. At least it breaks up that,
Oh, nice.
and of course you can never go wrong with letters. This wasn't the best thing to put this in. Oh, here's a little palette. That's gonna work a lot better. Just one more thing for me to have on my tabletop.
I like your tabletop.
The rollers just don't get it quite in there enough.
Nice. That's getting really cool now. Sometimes maybe you don't want them in there. I love that.
Yeah, now I like this so much better than I did before. That's kind of fun. And then I can still go in. I could add more papers. I could add words. I could add ink. But